Well, let's start with you. And what inspired you to write this project?
Thank you so much. I also want to say this just briefly about the start of this project and how it all came together. Alan and I were close friends at film school, and he's the cinematographer, and we were working on our thesis film together. And that's when he fell in love with Janvi, and they got married. And Janvi's our producer, and she quickly became part of the team, and we became a family. And when I started writing the script, this was always the team that we were going to do this with, these three friends from film school. The editor, Jacob, one of my close friends from high school was editing a short film with Jacob, and he said, "Do you want to see my film? I have the editor's assembly." And I was like, "Don't show me the editor's assembly, because do your work on it first and get it to a place where you like it, and then show it to me." And he was like, "No, I think it's like 97% there." I met Jacob, brilliant editor. He's so talented for his age, and we were really lucky to work with each other. We worked in his parents' childhood bedroom on weekends when he worked a full-time job. And Julia, I've known Julia since I was a little kid. We grew up on the same street, and I didn't know who to do the music for this movie, and one of my roommates said, I've heard Julia Newman's music, and she's the real deal. And so this is all of our first feature films, and I will talk a lot about Ezekiel.
It feels like you just called everybody you knew, and we're just like, "Do you want to make a movie? Can you make a movie? What skills do you have?"
That's how you have to make movies, especially in the beginning, when you're trying to scrape these projects together and get them done. And so that's what.
It's a good idea, and a lot of people have done it, and it works out. It definitely works out. Let's talk about your actor, though, because he wasn't one of your friends.
Would not have been possible without the brilliant Ezekiel Pacheco. I think this project, he's brilliant in it, and I really think it's just the beginning of what he's capable of, because he has so much depth inside of him, and it is just waiting to explode. And I think you can see it in some of the moments in this movie.
Ezekiel, did you get to read the whole script before saying yes to doing the movie?
Yeah, I got the audition. I was working at Amazon at the time, dropping off packages. And then I was like, I'm gonna make a movie by the end of the year, and I'm gonna deliver a great performance. So then I was like, and by the end of the year I got it, and thanks to Augustus and his family for giving me this platform. I've been envisioning this for a long time now, so now that I'm here, I'm looking forward to being a Hollywood star and being taking over in Hollywood.
He manifested it, you guys. Manifested. Can you just talk about when you read this? What was it about the movie that made you want to do it, that attracted you to this character and the other characters?
Well, I mean, I'm an immigrant, yeah. I was born in Mexico, in Guerrero, Ayuteros Libres, and I was brought here when I was 1. I was raised in Watts all my life. I grew up a street vendor. I went around selling ice cream with my family, and it was very hard for me growing up because I had a lot of limitations, so it wasn't always so easy for me. Someone like Nico goes through a lot, and they still have to have strength every day to help out their family, go to school, and maybe try and be somebody. And there's a lot of kids out there that are going to be watching this, and I hope they see themselves in this, because, a lot of people go through this, especially if they're immigrants or if they're not. They might just come from low-income families or no opportunities. Also, it's a love letter to all the parents out there that work so hard to give their their kids a better life. And yeah, I hope that's seen in the film.
Thank you. So in this film, there's a lot made of his neck tattoo. A lot of instances where you see characters see it and kind of go, I don't know if I can trust this person. What about the neck tattoo? What made you want to include that as part of his character?
It's not a real neck tattoo, as you may not know, but but the neck tattoo for Ezekiel and I meant his father's initials, and it came from a place of love, not of intimidation or fear. And we liked that juxtaposition, how it to all these other characters it meant something intimidating, but to him it actually meant something really personal. And so that's kind of what we were going for with the tattoo.
It's interesting because my brother's a tattoo artist and he has tattoos all over, including like on his neck.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, so many people have so many
Yeah.
tattoos that it made me wonder if people are still judged for their tattoos and where they're at and what kind of tattoos they are. But it was so interesting how like some characters couldn't really get that this guy was like a fucking great student that was going to college, but also had this neck tattoo. You know
Yeah,
what
it's
I
like,
mean?
how could this be possible?
Right.
Both
It
are
couldn't
true.
exist in the same person. So let's talk to some of your crafts people here. We have editor and producer and composer and cinematographer. DP, cinematographer. We're just talking about the different names for cinematographers, which is what's used now, but it used to be just like cameraman or and how older people in Hollywood call it different things too. People who have been in the business a long time. When you talked about the look of the movie together, what was it that you discussed? How did you want this to look, and how did you help create that?
Well, a big part of it, like any film, is just working with the production design team on just like what the house looked like, because this is a smaller film and that house was kind of like our whole movie. So we actually ended up painting a lot of the walls in the house to have this kind of like cool blue kind of color. So that was like a big part of just.
Is the
look
house
of
here
the
in
film.
LA?
Yeah, it's in Hancock Park
Okay.
adjacent.
Okay.
Because we needed a house that had a basement. And as we know from watching Zodiac, there aren't many basements in California. But so you got to have a house that's built before 1930, and that's historic neighborhoods like Hancock Park, where there's every single house has a basement in it. And
Oh,
that's
interesting.
How we were. And
Okay.
we think it added like this aristocratic creepiness to the whole movie as well.
I thought some of those houses look familiar, like when they're walking through the. I used to live like 2 blocks. I used to live on the Koreatown side of.
That's
Hancock
exactly
Park.
where we shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, that looks like my old neighborhood. So it was all practical, nothing on a set or on a soundstage.
We built the basement even bigger
Oh, okay.
using their garage
Okay.
because their basement it wouldn't have been safe for all of us to be down there with all the gear and stuff.
Yeah,
Only
the
one
house
suite.
was such that it was impossible to find the perfect house for the script, but we just found the place that had just enough of a basement that we could sell it in the film, and then kind of
Basically, once you turn
Build
the
a set.
corner, you go down the steps, you turn the corner. As soon as you turn the corner, you're in a set.
Okay.
The production design is very seamless, so hopefully nobody realized.
I didn't know. That's movie magic, right?
Yeah.
So what about you as producer? What made you, when you read the script, just go, I need to do this. I need to work on this. It's going to be really special.
Well, I think when the script came to me, I think the mark of a really good script is that you just finish it all in one go. And I'm notoriously slow at reading, but this was like an hour. I was like quick. And, I had known Augie through AFI. Alan was shooting it. Paulo, who's not here, who's Alan's brother, was also producing. And so, I think it's rare that you'll make a movie with friends that's on this scale. So I think it felt like the perfect opportunity to take that leap from shorts to features, because we were surrounded by friends and it was a great story. And, I was just like, okay, this is going to be fun.
What led you to make this into sort of a mystery? Because for a while in the film, we're trying to figure out, and I even thought for a long time, oh, this family is definitely pulling something over. Oh my God, they've murdered somebody. Or what made you decide to sort of put that tension like that in there?
My favorite films are suspense thrillers that kind of they engage the audience and keep you thinking, and you become an active participant in the viewing experience, trying to figure out what's going on. And I think that leads its way to talking about bigger issues and topics that I think through this genre can be explored in an interesting way. The challenge with this bending genre story was really in the music composition. And when Julie and I sat down to work on the music, we were like, okay, well, how do we begin telling the audience what type of movie this is? Because it changes a lot for the viewer, as you said.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to know. So how do you, with the music cues, tell the audience how to feel about certain things?
Well, I think firstly you have to decide how it is that you want to underline what the film is already doing, right? So you have a couple of choices. One, you can score from the perspective of locale. And we did try that. One of our early cues that we were trying out was, do we score it in a more aristocratic way? But it turns out that the score functioned more effectively when we were playing into and elevating the feelings of mistrust within the house. We wanted to elevate that feeling of claustrophobia so that it's, I'm helping you, but maybe I'm not, right? When you see that tattoo, it's that question of what does it mean and what is. And I think that the film does such a good job of making these really human characters. And I think part of the human experience is sadly to mistrust your neighbor, to mistrust the person who's standing next to you, who you're sharing a house with. And how can we help push forward and bring to the surface this feeling of discomfort, this feeling of unease, of course, until we reach the latter part of the film, which is when, strings come in for the very first time, where we're sort of indulging in the feeling of it all. But I think a lot of it is trial and error. Putting something up next to picture and deciding, does it work? Am I bored? Am I more engaged?
So are you all together, director, editor, and composer, all working together in the same room sometimes, working everything out, or is everybody's job done separately?
So, I mean, every movie's different, but in this case, Augie and I spent about 2 or 3 months just cutting it together. We did a few passes of the film with no music at all, and then we started to pepper in some temp music to get a sense of like, okay, are we leading the audience too much here? Is this revealing too much information too soon? Are we answering questions that we want to save till later? And then once we kind of had a solid cut, we started showing things to Julia. She would send music back. We'd put it in. The cut would change, and then eventually we'd get to locking picture, and then Julia just took over and killed it.
But you created a really natural sense of rhythm with the edit. I think people oftentimes don't understand that it's like you're so responsible for creating the foundational elements of what makes a film watchable. And then I think the edit and music really are trying to dance with one another. And then we're all, both looking to Augie and saying, okay, how can we help really create a solid and shared vision for that structure and direction?
Julia, have you ever worked in broadcast journalism?
Oh my gosh. People are always asking me what I'm selling. Nothing. I'm not selling you
have an
anything.
amazing voice. I would buy probably anything from you.
I was a musical theater kid, forgive me. So that's where it comes from.
No, you have a fantastic voice. I just feel like I want to listen to you tell me all the news all day.
Yeah.
So let's, Ezekiel, let's talk about you working. How do you help your actors get to where they need to be? What do you feel about directing actors? Is it one of your favorite parts of directing?
It's definitely one of the best parts, because that's like game time. You're there. The money's going out the door every minute, and you gotta try to capture what you all came prepared to do. And so that's what's really nice. I think with Ezekiel and Vanessa, I got so lucky. They really made my job extremely easy. We got to rehearse for like about a week before, and really get into these characters, get down Vanessa's Salvadoran accent, and bring a lot of Ezekiel's real life experiences to the movie and the
That's
script.
nice that you got to rehearse.
It completely changed so many
I
scenes
hear from a
and
lot of
moments.
people that they had no rehearsal at all. They're just like jumped into everything.
Yeah, no, it changed. Every scene that we worked on in rehearsal changed at the script level, and then that changes the whole movie. So it was hugely beneficial. What do you think, Ezekiel?
It was easy. It was very easy. Working with Augie and then having these people give me like a platform to like showcase my talent has been very easy for me, and it's what I wanted on my first film, I just wanted the film to capture my heart, and it did. I left the rib on the table, and they allowed me to work the way I wanted. And I also want to thank my acting coach, Steve Teitsor, who helped me out a lot, Ed Harris, who helped me out with my performance. And it's just I've been real grateful for everything that's been going on in my life. God never gave up on me. I've been real blessed.
Ezekiel, so when people are called to the set, the crew call is usually an hour before the actor's called if the actor's in the first scene. And Ezekiel would show up before the crew and stay after the crew. He was the hardest working person because he was there before we started filming. He was there after, and he was just, it shows his level of commitment both to the movie and to his own craft. And yeah, it was amazing.
It's dedication. Dedication. So when does this come out?
This comes out this
Friday?
Friday, November 3rd.
This Friday.
In theaters, AMC
Yeah.
Burbank. So please, if you
Excited?
liked it, please
tell
share
your
it, tell your
friends.
friends.
Are you having a premiere screening with all of you at it in Burbank?
We will be there. Ezekiel and I will be there on Friday night with another Q&A, and he'll be there on Saturday night for a
Yeah.
Q&A. And
We're working.
we'll all
sadly.
be around. Yeah.
Well, congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
to,
Thank you all so much for
Thank
taking
you,
the time to watch
everyone.
this.